Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Anambra. It's Tuesday, the 5th day of April 2022. We thank God for being alive today. My name is Nonyan Wokoye, asking you to sit tight as you're poised to make your Tuesday morning what it should be, God willing. Let's begin with the press review. You're welcome to the press review. As usual, we'll take a look at some of our national dailies and of course stories making the headlines on ABS website. In the studio this morning, I have a public affairs analyst with me, Abuja. Good to have you.
Good morning, Anambra. Thank you, Noni.
You're welcome. All right, let's kickstart with looking at stories trending on ABS website this morning. Soludo reaffirms resolve to restore peace, security in Anambra. Churches in Oka join in prayers to end Monday sit-at-home. Anambra Deputy Governor Ibezim re-echoes need for collective action to maintain clean, healthy environment. Anambra Assembly Speaker Okafor distributes empowerment tools to constituents. Anambra Youth Volunteers commend Soludo for initiating peace, security dialogue to tackle insecurity. SIM, NIN link, FG bars outgoing calls on lines not linked to NIN. All right, a lot of stories here, and let's begin with the one of our governor, his efforts to ensure that there is peace and security in the state.
Yes, we have to thank the governor for promoting the idea. I think is a right move in the right direction because with what we are seeing so far, I think it's beyond the physicalities and maybe physical combat, if you use that word. So it is time we go spiritual, and it really shows that he's not just a governor who plays to the gallery, that he has shown that he is equally a governor who listens to yearnings and aspiration of the people he's leading. So a lot of people are calling for that prayer section, and for him to have taken the bold step in announcing it, and people carrying it out yesterday, shows that there will be a total end to this present menace we find ourselves. I believe that there's nothing prayer cannot do. It's only someone who fell from the mass that can only say no, nothing is in prayers. It is so efficacious. And I believe for the governor to have remembered that God is still the father of all, and that is the supreme deity. So taking Anambra's situation to him will go a long way in ameliorating the pride. So I commend him for that.
All right, quickly, let's see. The deputy governor re-echoes need for collective action to maintain clean, healthy environments. We know there was this cleanup from Saturday till Monday, that's yesterday. And again, people were happy that the refuse were cleared.
Yes.
And I remembered vividly what the governor said. He said, don't you go back to carry bin and throw inside the gutter. So it's a collective responsibility, yes. And the deputy governor is re-echoing it.
Yes, we must support this administration. So far they've started on a sound note, and all they need is our support, collective support. The governor has shown that he's not, that he's here to govern Anambra State, and that he's not segregational. He is not talking about looking forward to maintaining a particular sect. This time around, he's governor of all, and I believe that all the political parties in Anambra State, all the stakeholders are really, really happy with the efforts he has made so far. So I think we'll commend him. Cleanliness is next to godliness. That cannot be overemphasized. Like I monitored it too at Ochanja too, the one at Opoko. You need to see the lots of refuse that were evacuated. So these things are something that when someone is taking a bold step in addressing a particular ill, All you need to do is to key in and support the person. So we are supporting our governor in our own little corner. Let us do the needful. Some people will be in the vehicle, they will be throwing trash out of the vehicle and all that. All those things should be stopped. So we should start our own cleanliness in our own environment before taking it to the markets. So far, if you go to Ochanja roundabout, you see a new look Ochanja roundabout. So we really need to thank the deputy governor and his team. So we want to say, let them sustain the tempo.
All right, now the big one, let me call it the big one. Okay. We just woke up this morning, somebody ran to me and said, I couldn't make calls, you know, that I wanted to make calls. They said, I can't, but somebody had to call me and I received. Now, the news is that the SIM NIN link, federal government bars outgoing calls on lines not linked to NIN. I don't know what do I call it? The impact this is going to have on the masses and of course on the telecom providers.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. When you are not getting the right things done, you can always be having these issues here and there. I believe they're having some technical issues which will be addressed in matter of hours. I witnessed it too. There's no cause for alarm. But I must say that the telecommunication providers should really sit up. People are really not really happy in terms of what they are actually doing. The money that has been removed, you recharge 200 naira and all that 100 naira. You can't even say hello to someone and it's gone. And there's no way to regulate it. The next thing they will tell you that you've exhausted your airtime. But I think in overseas, in a developed client, you must account to every charges you made. We are talking about telecommunication providers. We are still talking about the banking sector, which people are complaining every now and then. So what I'm saying is that there is no cause for alarm. We must actually see it as one of those things. There is just woman making. What I mean by woman making, this is something, if a human being can break down, I believe that some facilities can even break down. So let's give them some time. I believe they will address it. Personally, I had such experience, but I know I've done the needful, so there's no cause for alarm.
All right, let's move on now and see the first paper for review this morning. Don't forget that this is on the audience participatory. There's a phone line on your screen to call and make your own input on any issue this morning. The National Star newspaper is first in a lineup. Let's see the new National Star. Federal government orders telcos to bar unlinked SIMs from service. That's an order that actually came from the federal government. Now, in security, government that can't protect lives should quit, says JNI. Court orders federal government to pay Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer 5 million naira as compensation. Younger Nigerians need courage to rescue the country, says IBB. Abuja Imam sacked for anti-Buhari preaching gets new appointment. Mixed reactions as Anambra marks 200 houses for demolition. 146 Abuja Kaduna train passengers unreachable. NRC talking. All right, let's see. I think let's take our story from our doorstep now. That there's this mixed reaction. We know that Soludo, there's something he said in his speech that we can't continue to do the same thing and expect different results. And of course, it's going to be a change that will be painful. At the same time, in the long run, we'll see the need why it actually happened. Now, it said mixed reaction as Anambra marks 200 houses for demolition.
That's what definitely, when you want to take such drastic step, a lot of people will call. Some people will find it funny, some will find it hard on you. And I just want to commend the governor once again for taking the balls, because just like you said, at the long run, we will be our immediate beneficiaries, because if El Puko will be put in order or to that level the governor expected it to be, at the end of the day, it is in the Anambra that will enjoy it. So let's borrow a leaf from what happened in Lagos State. When Fashola, Babatunde Fashola started this kind of thing, initially a lot of people made a lot of calls and started claiming all whatnots and all that. But at the end of the day, you can go to Lagos, from Lagos Island to Relay bus stop, or Relay bus stop to Badagry. You see how expansive it is, and it eases the traffic flow, even though that there are still some pockets of traffic green locks here and there in Lagos, but you can't compare it to what it used to be in the past, talking about bad roads, congestions and all that. So what the governor is trying to do is to open up Ukpuku and by extension Idemili, Awada, Onitsha axis. So, and once that is done, it will ease us of some of these hoodlums who even using that as their safe haven. So I think we need to commend that initiative.
And who knows whether there will be relocation of those affected?
When you said that he didn't want them to start going about touting, moving about from one vehicle to another, demanding for money and all that in name of a ticket and all those. So when he made mention of that, and he equally assured them that they will be trained and they will be empowered.
No, I'm talking of the demolition that will take place. Some people, it could be their homes or their shops. I don't know if any provisions will be made for them.
That is another thing, which I believe the governor cannot do this in isolation. I believe he must have consulted widely with owners of the houses.
Let's move on now. The Daily Independent newspaper is next in our lineup. Let's see stories making the headlines on the Daily Independent. Mass defection loom from APC over Adamu's chairmanship. Mass defections loom from APC over Adamu's chairmanship. Nigeria needs younger person as president, IBB insists. Insecurity, Buhari government equal to the task, says Lai Mohammed. FG appeals to Shell, Chevron, NNPC on gas supply to LNG plants. Hush Puppy, court defers hearing on suit seeking to stop Abakari's extradition. PDP zoning intrigues as autumn-led committee meets again, submits. Federal government bars 73 million phone lines to tackle rising insecurity. Lassa fever, Nigeria's death toll climbs to 127 in 3 months. We will use SDP platform to remove Governor Abdulrazak in 2023. That's Popola talking. Bandits abduct 22 villagers on Abuja-Kaduna highway. Again, PDP governors blast presidency over state of affairs. Okay, let's look at that story of abduction on Abuja-Kaduna highway. For over time now, since after the attack on the train, people were saying you can't travel by road, you can't travel by air, you can't travel by sea, even by the train. Yeah. I don't know where we are going with all this happening.
It just to show that the security architecture of this country is at the lowest ebb, and that's potential danger. We are still talking about the attack on the train, and which we are even yet to repay the loans used in building such infrastructure and transportation sector. But at the same time, you find out that killing is now the order of the day in some parts of the country. People no longer look at the sanctity of human life. We don't no longer see it as anything. Somebody can wake up and stab his fellow woman, something you cannot create. So, but I think it boils down to social reorientation, making us to understand that life is precious. Okay, some of these people, if you look at it, I read that they are within the ages of 22, 21, 18, 17. So, and you can see that you can see adolescents, youthful exuberance. They don't know the history of the country. They don't know how far we've gone, and all they know is that they've been indoctrinated to go and maim, to go and kill, and that's what they are carrying out. Remember, at this stage of their life, you find out that whatever that is being instilled in them, that's what they will believe in, because people are quick to grab those bad behavioral patterns. So they are now doing it, and those people indoctrinating them into such art are the elders. So if we really want to get our ass together and put a stop to this insecurity, it should be something that will be started and championed by you and I. When I mean you and I, people over there in the north, over there in the west, and in the east, and even in the south. So it cuts across board. We are not going to leave any stone unturned. This is no longer something we will leave for the security chiefs alone, and every now and then they will tell us that they're on top of the situation. So things are getting bad by the day. We must sit up and call on our youths. The women, the mothers should address the children. Let them know that the human life is precious. In your own home, talk to your children. So what I'm saying is that these killings are being carried out by youths and children of below 25 years. So that is to show that they really don't know what they are going into or what they are doing.
It's
so
indeed
please.
fearful. It's indeed fearful. Let's move on now. The Nigerian Tribune is next in our lineup. Let's see stories on the Nigerian Tribune. Train attack, 60 phone numbers of passengers non-existent. NRSC reporting, say 14 missing passengers found alive, 8 dead, it says. Okay, Lekki Ikoyi Link Bridge, Sanwo-Olu agrees to make some concessions. Details to be released soon by LCC. 22 villagers feared kidnapped hours after IGP declared Abuja Kaduna Highway safe. We have a rider there. Bandits kill ex-DIG's son. 3 others injure police officers in Zamfara. Oshiomhole declares for Senate. Suspended Abuja Imam finally sacked. Facts on APC's misrule have left you dazed. PDP governors reply presidency. NIN-SIM linkage. Federal government directs telecoms to bar outgoing calls on unlinked lines. 2023, Wike Makinde Bazo Ugwanye visit IBB. Zoning will not be against Atiku committee talking. Controversy trails sinking of vessel under EFCC custody in Lagos water. No moral justification for any government that can't protect citizens. Sultan's JNI says well-orchestrated train attack reprehensible. 1.2 million people at risk of explosive mines in Borno, Adamawa, Yobe. That's coming from UN officials. DSS arrests and nursing murder 5 other members of kidnap syndicate in Ondo. Appeal court reinstates 86 sacked employees of Ekiti State University. All right, I don't know. Could it be because of the it said that the IGP declared Abuja Kaduna Highway free, free. That hours after. Does it mean it was because of the declaration that led to the kidnap of 22 persons? I don't know. That
is what we're saying. When proper measures are not being put in place and you're asking people to go about your lawful businesses, they're just going there to endanger themselves. In fact, I must tell you the truth. In fact, it is not enough to say go about your businesses. This time around, we will need utmost assurance. You must prove to us that there are some measures in place that if such a thing occurs, there must be a kind of a safe haven for some of us, the passengers and those people plying that route. In fact, that road should be even declared, if I use the word, incommunicado or persona non grata in the real sense of it. People should even stop moving to that direction at this point in time, because the insecurity in that area is yet to be addressed. So what I'm saying is that it's not enough for the IGP to say you should go about your lawful businesses. There's no cause for alarm.
And there's this video I watched of Adeboye, the questions he kept asking. Okay. Why Kaduna? Why this? Why that? Why that? Where next? Yeah. That's actually some of the questions he was trying to ask in that video.
I think I shared his sentiment. But before that, Kaduna referred to say or acknowledge that it has been happening even along Lokoja, along Abuja Highway. A lot of kidnappings have been going on there, which has been swept under the carpet. So, and in fact, the country is really not safe right now. So anybody saying that flying using the airplane and maybe it will be safer, and some people will talk about that that they have phobia for flying, and now if you want to use a canoe, imagine where it will take you. And some people, there will be a time people will even prefer that canoe now, even for you to get to Lagos, But what we're saying is that the road, the air, the sea, the land, everywhere should be there must be adequate security. After all, we have those people manning those sectors. They should do their job. That's what they are being paid for.
The sea is naval officers.
That's it. The sea is they should take care of it. The Air Force should take care of the air and to ensure that because the kind of attack they are carrying on right now, talking about the train. Who knows that even they must have graduated to even bombing of the planes. So we should look into that direction. Let's beat them to their game. He might be looking at the train. Who knows if tomorrow they will go up there and bomb a plane. So that's where we should look into.
All right, quickly, let's move on now to the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's see stories making the headlines on the Daily Trust. Nigerians spend 67.7% of monthly income on utilities, which riders there is second highest among 51 nations. British firm study. We spend our salaries on basics, workers talking. Most Nigerians live on goodwill. Report faulty, local analysts talking. Okay, federal government directs telcos to back calls on unlinked lines. Kaduna train attackers were teenagers, survivor speaks. Bandits in military uniform kills Zamfara commissioner's son. 3 others. We tried as there. Terrorists kill 17, abduct several others in 2 Kaduna local government areas. Police launch manhunt. Hours after sack, Abuja Imam Khalid gets new mosque. Groom's best man steals wedding gifts in Kano. 2023 PDP zoning committee decides today as aspirant stakeholders strategize. All right, let's look at politics now. You're laughing over the stealing. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's see. PDP zoning committee decides today as aspirants, stakeholders strategize.
Yeah, before I comment to that, let me quickly say something about the massive defections loom in APC. Expectedly, I went after what they did in Abuja, they call a convention and all. So I noticed there will be pockets of issues here and there because a lot of people are judged sidelined. You know, it used to be a coming together of AMPP, CPC, ACN, and all that. But you can see that ACN totally, with that list provided, were totally shut out. So it's not just about the emergence of Adamu. Adamu already is having a case with the EFCC, which I believe that they didn't want to address that. So PDP are calling their attention to it. But what I'm saying is that apart from Adamu's emergence, there are issues because a group, they felt sidelined. So now that is what they should expect. But what to where, from APC to where? With what is going on in the country, are they sure if they move to another party B and their safety will be guaranteed or interest will be guaranteed? So it's neither here nor there. Then as for the PDP you talk about, I think so far the political parties in Nigeria, I'm talking about the 2 political parties right now, actually emerged in crisis. Yes, this idea of interest is what actually is their greatest undoing. So the bane of political parties in Nigeria is how to manage interests, different interests, divergent views, and that is why we are today, like we used to say. So that is just it. So if for us to come up with a good template for us to key into politics of the nation, there must be a coherent in-house rebuilding of the political setup.
All right, quickly, this day newspaper is next in our lineup this day. Nigeria's presidential options, the die is cast. We tried who amongst the aspirants will be chosen by Nigeria's changing electorate. We have their faces in front of this day newspaper. That's presidential potentials in alphabetical order. You can go through and see who and whose face is there. JNI, any government incapable of protecting citizens lacks moral justification to be in power, with a rider there, says continuous mayhem, killings, callousness automatically resetting people's psyche to accept situation as normal. And we have a presidential ticket, PDP zoning committee decides today. Okay, let's see that story because we've seen it repeatedly in other papers this morning. Any government incapable of protecting citizens lacks moral justification to be in power.
In power, that is it. So that is why when we talk about getting prepared before you assume a position of authority, if you are not prepared, you will be seeing issues like this. Because if you look at what you manifesto, if you should look inward, some of those manifestos they are churning out every electioneering year, you will find out that most of them are not even looking at it after they assume power. So I think I agree with that particular quote. It is what it is. So what we should be looking into is a leader with the balls to address insecurity. Let me tell you, Nigeria, we all know Nigerians are happy people. All we need is just give us that security. Even while we are suffering and smiling for many years now, we've been getting along. But what we are now looking into, or what is now worrisome at the moment, is the issue of maiming and killing, losing of lives, just like that. So that is the problems we are feeling as Nigerians. The poor masses, we've been subjected to the level of hardship we are even used to. Okay. Imagine in a situation whereby in every household you must have your generator standby, because you know that they will definitely disappoint you. So you must have it. We are used to that. That we must find alternative power supply. So Nigerians are used to some of those things, but what we are not used to is the current situation we find ourselves, which is the killing and maiming of Nigerians. We say no to it. So the government should find a way of bringing back the Nigeria we used to have, whereby you go about your duty suffering and smiling.
All right, quickly, the Vanguard newspaper. Now let's see stories on the Vanguard newspapers. Sultans, JNI, Catholic bishops lambast the federal government on insecurity. I think that's what we just talked about now. You can't fight insecurity keeping students at home, ASU tells government, why we sacked Abuja Imam who preached anti-government sermon. Mosque Committee 2023, Wike, three other governors consult with Babangida Abdusalami in Mina. Ohaneze disagrees as Soludo offers amnesty to agitators in Anambra. 2023, Oshomole declares for Senate, you are enemies of Nigeria, and Olga tells governors, addressing misconceptions of mental health spiritually. Okay, when the picture in front of that paper actually is talking about, when I saw that picture, I know I was just looking at it, that's the consultation of the governors to the former president. I said, is it not what it should be, that the elders should be at home while the younger ones consult them in the course of their, their pursuit of political positions in this nation? Okay,
I think I will not take that whole and entire. Okay. But there are some issues. We still need some elders with the right judgment to be there to guide us. Okay. While we're clamoring for youth, or rather younger persons, to be in position of authority, we should look at people with capability. It's not enough to say you are young and you want to vibe, maybe because you feel you have too much money, and then you want to be in leadership position. What do you have to offer? We look at your antecedent. We look at, if at all, if you really want to test a leader, find out from his background, where he's coming from. We all were in secondary school. Most of us could not even lay our hands on even a labor prefect. And
Nigerians are clamoring for younger people to be in positions of authority. Now, Noshomolo is vying for Senate, and he celebrated his 70th birthday at the same time.
That's what we are talking about. In the real sense of it, the likes of Oshomole shouldn't be talking about vying for any position right now. But that is not to say that in a situation whereby the younger people are not there, when we don't have productive youth, it's not enough to say you are young. I'm talking about that innate potential. Actually, do you have it? What do you have to bring to the table? So that's what qualifies you. When you talk to me as a younger person, I look at your psyche, I look at what you've done in the past. Let's look at some of those people clamoring for younger people. Look at them selectively, go back to their, right from their secondary school. These are people shying away for leadership position. Go back to their university days. They've not even a committee they cannot champion. And today, because you are wielding power with wealth and you think you can assume a particular position. No, we really need people. When I talk about younger people, we need people with capacity. And that capacity entails a lot of things. You must have the psychomotive, the cognitive, and the affective domain. That's only what carries you. And give you an edge over an elderly person. Because an elderly man will be here and the experiences he has gathered over the years, that's what he will use to beat you to the game. But when you have these three domains I just made mention of, that's what will give you an edge over him. Because cognitively you are there, you are sound both in mind and in body. Then there, psychomotively, you have the human feelings. That's what we're looking at. Then affective, you have people at those people you are going to serve. You know that you are going there. The leadership position is meant for service and not the other way around. That's my own contribution.
All right. The last paper on the list this morning is the Nation newspaper. Let's see stories making the headlines on the Nation newspaper. The 2023 presidential ticket splits PDP aspirants into 3 camps. We have riders there. South's governors join Wike to meet IBB. Tambuwal, Bala Saraki, Ayatu Dean visit Obaseki. Okowa, Atiku submits forms, gets Fintry's backing. Autumn pleads with aspirants to consider bigger picture. JNI slams for the government over worsening insecurity. Extradition, Malami cautions a court against bail for Kyari. Bandits abduct 22 on Abuja Kaduna Highway. Why I Want to Be in the Senate by Oshomole. And 72 million telephone lines partially deactivated. Federal government enforces NIN SIM linkage. Train attack. 7 passengers still missing, says NRC. And uncertain over insurance for train occupants. Falana Amechi Okiria liable. Okay, let's look at the issue of that train attack. We saw in the other papers that I think some numbers, around 14 were found. Some of them were alive while some dead. Now they said 7 more people are missing.
That's worrisome. In fact, it touches my heart when we talk about the way and manner lives are being lost in this country. Okay, now those people missing, they must have been abducted, they must have been burnt somewhere, they must have been killed, you know. So that's something that we issue. When it's happening over there, you will be here and say that you might not feel the impact. These are people's children, people's husbands, wives, nieces, cousins, and we're talking about them, those people who embark on a journey, and only for them to, their siblings and people who are waiting for them to return, only for them to read on the pages of newspaper they are being found missing. And you can even see some parked cars in that train station. It. To show that some persons, there are more to this that meet the eye. You know why? It's not enough to say that the train that have been attacked. Some kidnappings that must have gone in the process, they will use it to extort money. They will demand money, ransom. These are the things that I'm looking at. So those 7 persons, if you look at it critically, you find out that they've been abducted and for ransom purposes and nothing more. So my own issue is this. We should let's just be compassionate. Please, it is time we ask ourselves these questions. Where are we headed? Where are we going with the level of killings we are witnessing in our daily existential struggle? The sanctity of human life is no longer matter to us. All right, we thank God for the ones found alive, and we also sympathize with families that lost their loved ones, especially one of us. She's from Onitsha, Anambra State. The medical doctor. We sympathize with families of those lost their loved ones, and we pray that even those that have not been found will be found alive. And actually, this is where we wrap up the show this morning. Thanking you so much, Abuchi Onwomelo, for coming on Press Review. You're welcome. Thank you, Anambra.
All right, we wrap up press review this morning. More coming up on Good Morning Anambra. Do stay.
The next stage of what I will be talking about, or our series, is going to be salads. So what we'll be using is, we'll be using a natural one we know. Now this is cabbage. We're going to be using this for our salad. So watch me. Voila. Can you see how good looking our cabbage is? Now you're not even seeing, you cannot notice the difference between the peptine and the cabbage itself. So it just because of, you see it, you think it looks like wood. It's not wood. It is very important to eat the peptine. Anything that goes above the surface, make sure you try as much as supposed to take the middle. The middle is actually where the medicine, like 50% of the nutrient lies in the middle. Okay? Now the next I'm going to add now is our cucumber. What I'm adding next is our apple. Now, I said something that I will make the apple as juicy as possible. It's going to taste just like you want, and you'll be surprised because you think it's not going to be tasty. So what you do is that when you get a table knife like this, you just put it on the apple, and you're not peeling it, you are scraping it. Then you see the whitish thing coming out. This whitish thing is called wax. It is a cue they use to, it's synthetic wax. They used to preserve the apple against oxidation, so that it will not get exposed to oxidation. That's why you see you can keep apple for a long time. It's not going to change color. But once you bite it within some minutes, it turns brown. So this is the wax that has been preserving it. So the red apple and the green apple, they all have this. So please, before you eat your apple, if you go to schools, you see children, they give them apple every now and then, which is very good. But the truth is, they are constantly ingesting this and they are not excreting it. And this goes to our system, creating a lot of havoc because it is not healthy. The body doesn't see it as anything. It's infectious. So now, to help your kids and yourself, please, it's either you take out the wax or you don't eat the apple, either by boiling it in hot water or using a table knife and scraping it this way, and the apple is good. Else, I advise you shouldn't eat the apple. But all the ones that are grown in Nigeria here, we don't put wax to preserve it because after all, you can get them fresh. After taking out the wax, so what you do is that you now wash it. So I'm going to add the apple to our salad. So what I'm going to add next is coconut. Now you can see our apple is already changing color. If I left that apple without cutting it, it won't turn brown. Now, when you notice your food is turning brown, what you need to do is you get your lime, okay? You open it. You open your lime. Try as much as possible to take out the seed. So to preserve it, to stay fresh, probably when there is no light, and you want your salad to stay fresh, what you need to do is you sprinkle a bit of lime water on it. You'll be surprised that all the brownish color we are seeing very soon will start disappearing. Yes, so it protects the food against oxidation, air and light. Okay, now the apple will start changing. You could notice the difference between this and this now. That's what happens. So you can use your lime water to preserve your fresh vegetables and fruit once it's opened, and you don't have a refrigerator to keep it fresh. Yeah. So now the next